Good to meet you guys. Before we get started in earnest, would you mind just telling me kind of who you are and where you calling from?
I am from Poland,
Okay.
but we live right now in California.
Okay.
And what happened, Anna?
And what's happened?
2 months ago,
I had stroke 2 months
Okay.
ago. Very surprising because I was like, I am very young person, fears of everything. And I had, doctor, I had perfect style of life. I exercised 2 times during the day. I am vegetarian 11 years. I had perfect diet. I haven't any symptoms, any headache pain, anything like that. And just like in his birthday, I just wake up and I just gave gifts for him, cake. And after that, 5 minutes, I start, this madness starts. So it was very, very
Yeah, it was sudden out of nowhere
surprising
2
for us.
months ago. She's been walking. She's been getting better.
Yeah.
It's been a slow process, but she's actually doing pretty good overall.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, so you guys are kind of early in the rehab game, and so tell me what your experience has been so far, just so I can get to know you guys a little better. Kind of know where, did you go do rehab in the hospital, outpatient?
She had
rehab?
outpatient rehab and a little bit, and she had an in-home when she left the hospital. And she's getting into a new St. Joseph rehab soon, probably. She just had the referral from her primary care over there
Okay.
to switch rehab programs because her other rehab program wasn't the best for neuro. Yeah, we've been using this machine.
Machines.
I think since we got it every day. She's been. It has helped her. My only thing is
But my fingers, for
she's-
example,
she's-
the only one problem is that my
It's really-
fingers are in the same position all the time.
yeah,
And I think that I need to work more with the fingers.
maybe this might her wrist motion is actually pretty good.
Very
So I mean, it's good. It's been good and it's helped her. Yeah, even just it's been a good thing. But I don't know. She's thinking she might need to do other exercises, but yeah, I don't know. It's been a good thing so far.
Good, yeah. And so remind me, guys, did you get it on the 16th of this month? So it's been a couple days, or?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was on. I think we got it like on last Friday on the
Right.
13th, but we weren't even home until the 16th is when we started using it.
Okay. I do see that the 16th is the first day of use, so that's good. Okay. And so it sounds like main concern is basically making sure that it's helping drive improvements in the place that you want those improvements most, and that sounds to be in your fingers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I presume, based on the way you were gesticulating there, Anna, that you had a left-sided stroke and your right side is your impaired side. Is that correct?
Yes, this is my side, fears of everything, and this is right side. So I am available now to do a lot of things, but still, for example, close the bottom or like package my stuff or things like that. I'm very slowly, much slower than before. For example, when I tie my hair, I have to close one eye because 2 eyes still a little bit confused and they have problem work together. But every morning I walk a little bit and I make exercise and doctor, yeah, every single things I try to do the best what I can do.
Sure.
But also it's time. I have to be patient with myself also. And some things take time. Not everything happens one day.
Yeah. I think your mindset is great, right? And that is you come into this knowing it is a bit of work to get back. And it's not, unfortunately, there's no pill that we can take to improve following a stroke. But it sounds like you have the right mindset. You're willing to put the work in, and coming from a background of being very healthy and being very active, that puts you on a good path. It also seems, what I can see over the Zoom call, it seems like you've been making some good progress. You have some really,
yes, that's true.
Yeah, some good movements there. And so I think when it comes down to how the tool can best fit you, the Motus Hand. I think that's going to be the most important thing, right? Because the Motus Hand is designed to help individuals from across the spectrum of abilities. And that is from people who have very little to no active movement, all the way up to someone like yourself who does have some good active movement, but they need to work on things like endurance and strength and precision motor control. Like you're talking about being able to manipulate small objects to like do your hair, for instance, or do other what we call activities of daily living. Those things are really important. And so in that case, what we need to do is we need to make sure a couple of things are set up appropriately for you. And that is, one, we need to figure out which ranges of motion you're going to operate in. Two, we need to figure out how much help you may need and or resistance you may need. Because like I said, on that spectrum, some individuals may need a lot of help if they have a lot of impairment. But on the other side of that spectrum, you can imagine people who don't need a whole lot of help. They actually need something to work against to improve their strength. And also, we need to choose the activities that are going to be the most appropriate for you because of the level of difficulty. The games are also different in their intent, their sort of therapeutic intent. Some of them require, and I imagine it's going to be your case too, we're going to require games and activities that are much more challenging to encourage fine motor skills, precision tracking, these sort of things, multi-step commands. All of these sort of things are going to be very important for you because you are on the higher end of the spectrum in terms of abilities. And so I think you guys are right to come on Rehab Power Hour and to get these sort of details, these characteristics of the Motus Hand set up for you as soon as possible, so you can begin to get as much value out of it as possible. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course, of course. And I also want to just, this is always a broad statement that don't feel like you have to get everything out of this today. If you have more questions, you guys can always reach it back out to me, and we can communicate and make sure that we get you on the right path. Also, one thing I want to mention too, this is a little bit of an anatomy lesson. Not everyone notices this, but it's an important thing to mention. And in terms of the efficacy of the Motus Hand, we know it actually helps to improve people's fine motor skills. And that is in spite of the fact that it is a sort of a fixed motion about the hand and the wrist, right? We're not doing what we call interdigitated finger movements, right? We're not asking you to do fine motor skills like this.
Yeah,
but we still see it, but we still see improvements in those tasks after we ask people to use it for around 3 months. Then one may ask, well, how does that happen, right? Because there's this concept called spasticity that's really important with tasks. And it comes down to a really interesting phenomenon. There's really two things that are driving this. Well, potentially three, but we'll just simplify it to two for right now. One of them is, in fact, those same muscles that do this motion here are the exact same muscles that allow you to open up and close one finger. So I'll just ask you guys to do this really quickly. So take one of your arms, doesn't matter, either one, the anatomy is the same. Go ahead and put your other hand on the sort of elbow like this.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you then to go move your wrist and hand up into extension and then down. And you're going to feel these muscles contract.
Yeah.
Now I want you to do the same thing. I want you to just bring up one finger or maybe wiggle your fingers like this, if you can do that. And what you're going to feel is those same exact muscles kick on. And these are, it's not that we're working comparable muscles, it's that we are working exactly the same muscles in this context. And that's true for both the flexor and extensors. And these are called extrinsic finger muscles. And these are the things that provide most of the movement capabilities about our fingers as well as our wrists. So we are working, there is high degree of overlap between those motions that we're doing. So there is some anatomical reasons why we see improvements in those fine motor skills. There's also some sort of neurophysiologic reasons why we see them as well. If we go peer down into the system and we understand how those circuits are actually activating, we see that they're sort of coordinated in what are called functional units. And so when we activate these neurons and these sort of networks of neurons, we're getting synchronous activation across those same sort of the groups of neurons. And so we end up getting activation across those ones that matter, not only for our fine motor skills, but also for the wrist function as well. And then the other sort of concept here is that we're able to help people gain access to more movements by nature of working on this sort of foundational element. I didn't bring that one up because that's not such a key factor for you, because you do have a lot of those foundational elements already in place, but we need to work on those sort of higher level skills. And so that's what I would sort of encourage us to do.